Welcome to the channel for the first time viewers. Welcome back from my existing subscribers. Today we're going to talk about roaming. This is a video that was requested by Ellis Rickets and one of my YouTube subscribers, so what up? And the best way I could do this is just to tell you kind of what I like to do, right? Your role as a roamer is to slow down the attack, make sure that they know that you're there, and get an easy pick if you can, but don't be too aggressive. You also don't want to be too passive, which is something that you learn over time. And you will sometimes rely on your anchors to tell you when to collapse, like if they need help. So you need to make sure that you have good anchors that know when to call you back to objective and tell you where to come back from. So a lot of people will just say, oh, they're coming, and they won't tell you exactly where. So as a roamer, when you're starting to come back to objective, you either get picked off because you're just either blindly running downstairs because your teammate is crying bloody murder, or you have a direction because they said, they're coming from east, and then you can be careful when you get towards east. So that's just the beginners. So what I like to do when I'm roaming is I kind of like to go out and find a nice little spot where I know no drones have seen me, and I can just kind of be chill and wait for enemies to start breaking stuff. When you hear enemies start breaking stuff, usually I start off the round with a spawn peak. So that's when I'm roaming and I'm feeling myself, like when my aim is feeling good. But when you hear the enemy start breaking stuff, that's when you start making your moves. Like right here, I was spawn peeking and I heard something upstairs, so I pulled out my scanner, and lo and behold, there was two people breaking into hookah. So obviously with pulse, I got my nitro cell. I get an easy kill right here. Boom. Now, what you don't want to do is stay in the same exact spot that you got to kill. But sometimes you have to stay in the vicinity. You know what I mean? Like you might have to switch up your location. Like some rooms that you have to hold down because they're so critical to the objective. But when you get a kill from there, you have to like maybe go to the adjacent room and make a kill hole or a rotation hole. But you can't just stay right in the same spot, because a lot of the higher ranked players or the higher skill players or players with a lot of game sense, they'll just pre-fire walls, or you'll get hit with an Ash or hit with Zofia, hit with a Lion and pushed by Dokkaebi. They'll get you. They know how to get roamers. So another thing I want to talk about is who I like to pick, right? I like to pick 3 speeds for most roaming situations, but sometimes I pick a 2-speed like Legion, because like I said, the goo mines are like UAV, but for the most part, I like my 3 speeds because a lot of times when you get a kill, you got to book it, because sometimes you'll be out of bullets. Sometimes you'll find out there was like 4 of them there, and you got that one lucky pick, or you got 2 and you don't want to be greedy. So be mindful of who you're picking. I tend to stick with the 3-speed operators, like I said, just because it's a little bit more speed. Or if I roam with a 2-speed, it'll be somebody like Legion or Valkyrie. Valkyrie is another one I like to roam with, because although her gun is really weak, I have become accustomed to just getting headshots with it. So for me, it's very natural. But in the beginning, I hated her pea shooter. But over time, you get a little bit more accurate with it, and with that, you'll end up getting a lot more kills. And she's very useful because of her cam placements. And once her utilities are out, like they're out. You know what I mean? Like you don't have any more obligation to the team because your utility is completely used, and now you can roam freely. It's the same as like a Jaeger or a Bandit. In most situations, because sometimes you have to ban a trick, but in most situations like your Jaeger, you put your ADS and you can go. Now this clip here is just a round win where essentially I came down the west stairs and I just kept shooting them in the feet. They couldn't really see the angle too well. They could just only tell that I was over there somewhere, either in train, or I don't think they even thought that I would be, until I got the kill, that I would be up in the red stairwell. And the guy gets so caught up in trying to find the objective here that he's not even paying attention to me. So that is just an effective roam right there, where it ended up working out. The enemy team was just pretty much clueless as to where I was. And on this clip, I want to show you kind of what happens when your key players, like remember I made the video about if you're using your utilities. When your key players get taken out, like it messes up everything that you're trying to do. So right here, I rotate all the way to the other stairwell. Even though I made all that noise, I rotated from white to red. All right, but when I get to red, I ended up fragging out Thermite and somebody else. I think it was Habana or Ash up in the hatch. So with that, I mean, Thermite had just blown a wall, but he never actually got to the objective, which is even better for us because now we don't have to worry about any of our hard walls being breached anymore after this one here. So that alone is the power of roaming, because you take out some of the most important players sometimes, and sometimes you create a lot of pressure from behind and force teams into mistakes. And that is essentially what you want to do. You just want to give them pressure. A lot of times when we lose rounds and it's a really big blowout, like it's just something terrible, I've noticed that it's because we A didn't have enough roamers, or B didn't have an effective roam game. Because you're not going to win all the rounds as a roamer. Like, you're not all of a sudden going to be this roamer god and never die and always get picks. Like, sometimes you're going to go and they're going to track your footsteps or call you when you're trying to creep up on the enemy team. And that'll pretty much destroy everything, because now they know exactly where you are. And when the attackers come for the roamers, usually the attackers win, unless you had already predicted that they would come for you. So it's just one of those things that they have a lot of utilities, and if they're just focused on one person, it's going to be really tough to win that, especially if they start trapping you and coming in from different directions and you're far away from objective. It can get messy. But for the most part, it's essential to have a good roam game because, like I said, it creates that pressure and it makes the enemy team think twice before they just, recklessly just start pushing objective. Because what happens is if you get put into a kill box, which is the objective insecure, or you get put into a kill box and everybody's in that same little room, all it is just anybody moving in the wrong direction gets picked, and that just makes it very easy for the enemy team. So with that said, let me know what you guys like to do for roaming. Like I said, I like to stay back and either collapse later on or go for a spawn peek early on and then kind of hang around, where entrances are. I like entry denial type roaming. So that's more of my style. All right, let me know what you guys like to do when you're roaming, and leave a comment in the comment section. I'll catch you in the next video. Be easy.